My name is Dr. Ken Gallardi. Thanks for watching my other videos on the complete photon model. It's a model that facilitates understanding of both the particle and wave natures of the photon. I posted videos showing the model itself and how this complete photon model fully explains such things as the double slit experiment and the results when a linearly polarized photon is traveling perpendicular to the optic axis of a birefringent medium. Now I want to address the most fundamental question in physics. What is energy? Physics is a study of energy and its motion and results, yet we do not have an agreed upon understanding of what energy fundamentally is. For example, would I be able to give you some pure energy? And if I did, what would you receive? Today I want to give you my understanding of pure energy, which is that pure energy is a photon. It can't be reduced any further. The photon is like the atom of energy. Let me explain. There are at least two ways to calculate the energy of a photon. One is E equal h nu, and the other is a volume integral of the square of the fields as shown. The question is, what does the equal sign mean? This question is often asked about the equation E equals mc squared, and some want to assert that if you have energy, then you must have mass, and vice versa. But in that equation, the equal sign means upon transformation it yields, which means that if you have some mass and convert it all to energy by some process, and this equation tells you the amount that you would get. Correspondingly, if you have energy and convert it to mass, this equation would tell you the amount of mass that you get. It's a transformation equation. But the equal sign in E equals h nu, or written another way as the product of the spin and the angular frequency, is different. This equation does not speak of transformation because the energy and frequency and spin exist simultaneously. Similarly, for the volume integral of the fields, this does not represent transformation because the fields and the energy exist at the same time. The results of these two different ways to calculate the energy implies that one can't say that the energy is contained in either of these combinations, for that would imply that the energy is in the fields and it's also in the combination of spin and angular frequency, resulting in the photon having twice the energy that it has. The equal sign in these two equations cannot imply is contained in. It is a suggestion of this video that the equal sign means is consistent with, which means that the spin and angular frequency are matched precisely so that the product is equal to the energy. And it also means that the fields have a precise magnitude so that the volume integral is equal to the energy. Putting these together, I get the suggestion that the energy is the sum of the properties of each of the components of the photon as they interact, taking the photon structure into account, and that the energy is not contained in any single or set of components. Now this is similar to talking about the conductivity in zinc. One can identify the conductivity with the electrons, but if one were given 30 electrons, that's the number of electrons in the atom of zinc, put them in a bag, it would not have the conductivity of zinc, nor would you get that conductivity if you had a large number of sets of these 30 electrons. Nor would you get it if you had a large number of sets of each one of that consisted of 30 electrons and 30 protons and 34 neutrons. But if each of these sets were arranged in the unique design we call an atom, and the atoms were put together as a solid, we would measure the conductivity that we expect. The interactions of the electrons, protons, and neutrons, taking into account the relative position of each, yields the conductivity, and all the components are important to that conductivity. The property we call conductivity is the composite property of the properties of all of the constituents, taking into account the structure of those components. With zinc, we get several such composite properties, including density, color, tensile strength, each with their own temperature dependence. But with the photon, there is only one property for all of the constituents, field, spin, frequency, and structure, and that is energy. Energy is not a substance, it is a property. Pure energy is the combined property of the individual properties of the constituents of a photon as they come together in the unique design called the photon. When this energy is absorbed by a medium, we observe how the medium utilizes the energy. Then we see the combined effect of energy and the medium and observe that different amounts of energy produce different effects. Well, that's the complete photon model's explanation of energy. And it is that the atom of energy is the photon. Energy is the property we get when the components of a photon are assembled together in the unique design we call a photon. The photon corresponds to the atom of energy. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe and you'll see the next video I post, which deals with the nature of forces. Please pass these videos on, especially those in the physics community. And thank you for watching, and God bless.